Welcome back to Metaverse Express. I'm your host, Mona, and before we get started, be sure to subscribe right there below for your weekly news update. All right, guys, today's episode is going to be a full stop where we hit the brakes for a full stop to discuss hot topics in the metaverse. So let's jump right into it. Now, after attending Glaverse and NFT NYC, I'm starting to see Web3 and the music industry are proving to be a match made in heaven. And with direct performance and streaming revenue, it's looking like they're gonna live happily ever after. But let's face it, the music industry has always been resistant to change. But despite the resistance, the buzz around Web3 tells me this new version of the internet is coming and it's coming fast. But can Web3 actually revolutionize music industry? What are the benefits for artists? And more importantly, how can Web3 change the industry so that artists can finally take center stage? Well, I sat down with Lane Baker and Alex Frank of Gala Music to get some of my questions answered. I hope you enjoy this interview all the way from Glaverse, Malta. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to Glaverse, Malta 2022. How are you feeling?
Oh my God, so pumped. This is my first Glaverse. It's really incredible. This is something super special, and we're excited to announce things and give some updates, and just it's a really exciting time of the year for us. And then there's going to be way more to come.
How are you feeling? What vibe are you getting?
Oh, I'm loving it. I feel completely stoked. I'm here with hundreds of my closest friends from Discord. How can I not love this? It's a magical time, and the whole island has been beautiful so far, so no complaints.
It sure is, and the guys have done such an amazing job of creating these just realms. I mean, Gala is doing it all, guys. Gala is into films, into music, into gaming. We're just doing it all, right?
That's the goal.
Go big or go home. Let me start with you, Lane. I'm going to just go right into it. What is Gala Music?
Gala Music is the Web3 platform for music that we are currently building. It's a place where artists can have freedom to create amazing things without being tethered by the old world of the music industry, but while still being able to do all the things that make music fun. You want to tour? Go tour. You want to make records? Great. You want to make a single? Great. You want to make a 2-hour song about your cat? Awesome. You can do that on Gala Music. It's for the artists to do what they want, and it's for fans to directly support that, connect with their favorite artists, buy something that supports them, and get huge rewards back. Amazing utility. Fun things for the future.
You bring up something very interesting, and I'm going to turn the question over to you, Alex. The music industry is coming a long, long way, and the long way has been very traditional way. Yeah. Gala Music is certainly disrupting this whole industry. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So this is a long one. Do you want me to hold this one?
I got you.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So just some background on me, which might be helpful. I came to Gala a few months ago from almost 11 years at Sony Music. I was at Columbia Records for a lot of that time, and then I went to their distribution arm called The Orchard. And so I'm very, very, very familiar with the old industry, but the industry as it stands. I moved over to Gala because I was looking at blockchain and what it could do for artists, what it could do for fans. And then obviously I found out about Gala, and I was like, this is the company, right? This is the one. And so I think we're making waves, but it's still such an education process. I think we're still educating mainstream about blockchain, educating artists and their managers and labels about blockchain, Web3, who Gala is, like what we do. And I see that we can use this tech, not immediately into like disrupt the industry per se, but what I think we could do is capitalize on breaking down barriers we couldn't before. So for example, the way artists make money through recorded revenue right now is streaming, physical like vinyl, which is on the rise, especially in the States, and then through licensing. So commercials, movies, Peloton workouts, those kind of things. But we're adding another layer with that, right? With collectibles. So you still take that recorded music and you pair it with some beautiful visual that the artist is a part of. And then you give that utility in a way that Fans get rewarded with incentives, but they also get experiences. So it's kind of like a souped up fan club. So when you think about it, you're basically adding a whole new revenue source for these artists, and then you're giving depth to that collectible. So if you, like, just for an example, if the Beatles put out an NFT collectible of Hey Jude years ago, right? And there was only 1,000 pieces of that collectible, that alone is worth something, right? That alone is worth something. But if you layer that in with a meet and greet from Paul McCartney for every tour that he's on, or maybe you get access to tickets, maybe you get limited edition merch that only the holders can get. That's where we're going. That's the next level. And so I don't want to say we're disrupting the industry yet, because I think the industry is still learning about what blockchain does. But I do think Gala swings for the fences. So I think we're taking that education process, we're breaking down all the barriers that the tech currently has, and using blockchain to augment and make a whole new sector of the industry that could be super creative, lucrative, fun, and special for both artists and fans.
Well, and you're absolutely right. It's more of a music is evolving into Web3. Since your background is a record label, talk to me a little bit about that. What does that mean for current record labels? What does Web3 look like for them?
Well, it depends, right? I think phase 1 versus phase 10 is going to look a bit different, just how the internet looked very different for labels, because at the time they weren't paying attention to the internet. Out comes iTunes, where you could buy a single instead of an album. Then you get Napster, where people are pirating, and then that evolved to streaming almost a decade later. So we're still in like the infancy stage of what blockchain can do. I think there's ways that it's really, really positive for labels, and I think there's ways that labels are going to have to evolve to keep up with the times. So for now, I think it could be super beneficial for labels to partner with someone like Gala, who A, knows the space, but B, can help guide them through it, where, like I said before, we can help them generate new revenue. We can help them evolve what they're already putting out there, and we can help, artists explain it to their fans, educate their fans, and bring their fans into this world. Now, that's not to say that in a few years it might not look, exactly like that. I think it's, like you said, it's an evolution. So I think it will be in phases. I think labels right now are very aware of Web3, blockchain, NFTs. They're discussing it a ton. And when I say a ton, when I was leaving, every artist campaign was, what do we do in Web3? How do we make an NFT? Doesn't mean they know what they're saying, but that is a topic of conversation, and that's the first step, right? So I think the next step is going to be continuing to educate, and then just breaking down those walls and saying, hey, we're here to help you. We can move this thing forward, but what it'll look like in 5 years, 10 years, I can't predict the future on that.
I think none of us can do that, and we're all kind of YOLOing and teaching each other and learning as we're doing it. Lane, let me come over to you. Talk to me about Gala Music growing toward this blockchain model.
Yeah, so as we've launched so far, we've launched a very basic version of a platform where fans can buy an NFT, they can enjoy it, they can listen to it on our platform. It's a very, very early stage. Excuse me. What we're actually building out is a big platform where you can experience every type of content that Alex was just talking about. Those unlockables, the collectible nature of the music itself, but you can also share it. You can understand the data about it. How is your song doing on Gala Music, but also how is it doing on the other platforms? How is your artist doing, and how are you being rewarded over that? So that's what we're building out right now in terms of the actual product. And it's a pretty beautiful design, I'm not gonna lie. And if people are at Glaverse, they should check it out tomorrow at our AMA. Yeah, AMA tomorrow, we will be showing a bit of the platform into what it's going to be looking like. We'll have a player where you can experience, say, video, audio content, either one. You'll be able to connect with other fans, connect with other musicians, find out what folks are listening to and what they're collecting. And it should be a pretty smooth experience, and I hope a little bit delightful.
And actually, you kind of answered my question, because I was going to ask, how important is community in this whole picture?
Huge. It is absolutely massive. And we are in this infant stage. We're very early on in Web3, and a lot of this is about word of mouth. It's about bringing your friends into this new world, right? Taking them on the journey with you and connecting with like-minded individuals. And that's where community is huge. We talk to our community a lot. Sometimes they are not happy with a decision we made. Sometimes they love it. But I think that kind of two-way transparency and communication is very, it's part of Web3. It's what we do. You know, we don't need to be siloed. We don't need to hide everything. We're all trying to build a better world together. You know, our community, our fans, they're in on the joke just as much as we are. You know, we are trying to do something new, and we'll maybe make a misstep, but hopefully most of the time we get it right.
And that's so important. And I want to ask you, you know, there are a lot of artists out there who, in the traditional model that I was talking to Alex about, can only dream of making it, right? But in Web3, they have such a bigger opportunity and a probability to make it. Can you talk about this hesitancy or intimidation that some artists might have because they feel like you have to be working with Snoop to come into this space, right? But that's quite the contrary.
And yeah, that's not true at all, right? With Web3, I think there's a couple things that if you're not in the space, they might be unfamiliar to you. It's a weird new culture where profile pics make a huge difference. That's a symbol of your identity. There are things like wallets and seed phrases to learn about and write down and remember, which is not really a new thing, right? So being able to just break down those barriers, understand the fans, understand the artists, and do something better that works for all of them is what we're trying to do.
And you guys are doing exactly that. Alex, I want to turn the question over to you. Speaking of Snoop, he is paving the way for other artists, right? Talk to us about how Gala is going to change the relationship between the artist and the fans.
I mean, we're so excited to partner with Snoop and Death Row and all of their friends. I think a lot of times there's a lot of middlemen between the artists and their fans. And I think the internet, especially social media, really changed that, where an artist could post a snippet of a song or a photo and immediately get comments and get DMs and get all of these things. This, I think, eliminates even more middlemen and makes the community tighter. I think it's really, really, really hard to reach everybody these days, right? Back in the day, you go on the radio, you're AC/DC, you're the Beatles, you're Britney Spears, and everybody knows your name. Now there's so many different outlets, it's a bit more fragmented. So with Web3, you can basically engage in your community and reward them consistently. And I think, again, social media kind of helped remove that middleman a bit. This takes it one step further and just allows for that deeper connection. And I think that's why artists like BTS are so big. If you talk to the ARMY, they'll tell you BTS gives us so much. They love their fans so much. And that's why like the love for BTS is so deep from those guys. Web3 will enhance that. Absolutely. So I think that's what's going to happen is the artist-fan connection is just going to get deeper and deeper, because if you are one of the first 50 fans, and you can prove that you're one of the first 50 fans, because again, transparency and blockchain go hand in hand. Why wouldn't that artist consistently reward you? Why wouldn't your early in purchases and collectibles be worth more? Why wouldn't the artist come back and say, I want my first 50 fans to always be able to come meet me after the show, or maybe I have a private Discord with them? Those are the kind of things that I think the doors will open. Well, frankly, I don't think they'll open. I think they're going to blow off. And so I think that's the relationship that's going to change. It basically is just going to level up what exists now and just make that all super deep.
I mean, you've seen both sides, and you're on this side. You're on the dark side now.
It's the light side.
This is the light side. But, you know, we do need to make it more user-friendly. That's something I think we're all talking about and working on. And Gala is doing that, right? I mean, we do see that.
Yeah, so we're definitely taking steps to be more easy to use, more inclusive, make it an easier user experience. Like I said before, this is all education, whether it's for the artists or the fans or my parents, right? And right now, if you ask my parents what I do, they really couldn't tell you, but I hope one day they can. And so we're trying to make it so that regular people who might not have bought Bitcoin a few years ago or might not even understand blockchain, NFTs, crypto, any of that world can say, I like this artist, that's cool, I want to be a part of that, I want to own that. The same way you go on tour and you say, I want that t-shirt. So simple, so easy. We're going to get there. And we want to make it that easy for basically for fans to get to be a part of any part of the artist experience they want to be, whether that's a tour or a piece of merch or, buying a collectible, whatever it may be. So we're making strides towards that. I don't want to give anything away on the tech side because we have our planned deadlines, but we're definitely taking strides to make that happen.
Oh, if anyone in this industry takes strides, it's definitely you guys. Lane, what are you excited about the most?
Ooh, such a hard question. We got all the artists coming, that's great. The biggest thing for me is what you might have seen on stage earlier, games and music playing together really nicely. I love the idea that you could support an artist that no one's ever heard. They're on Gala Music now, you bought their NFTs, and then you can use that music in a game. Or 20 games. Hundreds of thousands of players around the world might be able to listen to that music now. That wasn't an opportunity before. And that's huge. When I was a kid, we'd play the hockey games or Tony Hawk's Skater, and they would have really cool soundtracks, and occasionally you'd find a new band in there you'd never heard. And I'm just thinking about that with blockchain, with the amount of reach we have and that kind of capability. It just unlocks so much more for artists to continue doing the awesome things they do. If we can make more musicians have the opportunity to make a living, not even be a massive rock star, just make an awesome living, then I think we would have really succeeded, and I would go to bed extremely happy every night.
We're going to bed extremely happy because you guys are doing it. This question is actually for me. Is there a level of interoperability that needs to happen across platforms when you're in music, or do you see it staying on one platform like Gala?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the music itself should be interoperable. And I don't know if that needs to be one NFT that gets played in a bunch of places, or just you've got a song on Spotify, but also it's on YouTube and it's on Gala Music, because that's the world we live in. It's not hard to listen to music. And I think that part of it, when you divorce it, it's fine. Let music live everywhere. The interoperability between, say, Gala games, other games, maybe the sandbox or something, I think that's an area we absolutely should explore. And I was just telling someone earlier, we're friends with everyone because we like to build a new thing together. So yeah, the more interoperability, the better. We're obviously doing ourselves with games, film, music, all under one entertainment umbrella, which I think is going to be pivotal. And I think you will see more of that as the world just kind of expands.
Amazing. Last question, Alex. What are you excited about?
Oh man, that's just tough, right? The game music integration, like Lane said, but frankly, I'm really excited for this to go a bit more mainstream. Like I said, I do talk to a lot of family and friends that are not in this space, and I think I'm met with a lot of blank stares and a lot of questions. And I can't wait till we get to a point where they not only understand it, but they're excited to be a part of it. And right now, the community, the Gala community, which is incredible, and they're so engaged, they're in. They are so in, and we keep getting new and new community members every day, and those people are fully diving in the deep ends. I can't wait for the regular person who's might not be super engaged in Web3 yet to naturally go that route, to just have it at their fingertips and not even know, because that's how much they're enjoying the experience. The same way you might go on Netflix and just realize you click a button and your show that you want to watch pops up, or you click a button on your Uber and the car shows up. I don't really know what goes on in the background, but I love using it and I love my experience. That's what I'm most excited for. It's going to take a second, but I'm most excited for people to just be fully in it. Maybe they're aware of it, maybe they're not, and embrace this new tech. It's going to be huge for not only the music industry, it's going to be huge for every industry, I think.
Absolutely, and I always say, when it comes to this industry, we're not investing in coins, we're investing in people. And when you see people that are so passionate about what they do and they believe in this industry, that's what we invest in. And we're so glad to have you guys here building this thing out. I think the world is excited, so please keep doing what you're doing and show passion. And this is why we bring them in front of the lens, so you guys can meet them and know exactly the direction of Gala Music. So thank you both.
Thank
you.